Bta Politics news. While the ruling NDC is trying to downplay the Ford expedition gift received by the president from Burkinabe contractor Jibril Kanazo, the chairman of the Progressive People's Party, Ni Alotebru Hammond, has met the press to make public their stand on the matter. For the party, the Mahama-led administration has once again proven not to be trustworthy and fit to lead the country. A possible step down by the president must be considered. The PPP included a list of demands expected to come from the president.
The Ford vehicle saga calls for fresh and independent investigations into President Mahama's role in the abortive STX courier deal. The foreign Burkinabe contractor must face independent investigation and should be banned from participating in all Ghana government contracts. We urge all contractors, Ghanaians or foreign, to take a cue from this and desist from giving so-called gifts to the president, ministers of state, and other government officials. We reiterate our position on the crusade against corruption and call for the national support for, as a matter of urgency, the need to separate the Attorney General's Department from the Ministry of Justice and separate Parliament from the executive arm of government. We therefore demand the following from the President: an immediate apology to the good people of Ghana for bringing shame and embarrassment to our dear country. The publication of his assets declaration forms completed before and after he became a member of Parliament, Minister of State, Vice President, and as President of the Republic. Submit himself to a public inquiry to allow for a full public disclosure on the circumstances that led to the award of the two contracts and the giving of the gift therefrom. The President should admit his inability to lead the anti-corruption crusade and therefore refuse to contest the re-election on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress. The President must put a freeze on the award of contracts in this election year until a new administration takes over in January 2017. The Progressive People's Party is giving notice that an administration that justifies such gift-taking cannot be trusted to give clean contracts during an election year. So it will not accept any new contracts given by this administration when it assumes power in 2017.
National organizer of the governing National Democratic Congress NDC, Kofi Adam, says President John Dramani Mahama is not personally using a gift given by the Burkinabe contractor. Kofi Adam maintains that although it was a personal gift, the president later donated the Ford expedition to government, explaining why the Ford exhibition is part of the pool of vehicles at the presidency. President Mahama is at the center of a controversy after it was revealed that a Burkinabe contractor, Mr. Jibril Kanazo, gave a luxury vehicle to the president in 2012. The National Democratic Congress NDC seems to be downplaying the whole saga of the gift offered to the president by the Burkinabe contractor Jibril Kanazo, with his vituperation that the controversy swelling over the car gift to President John Mahama is just a storm in a teacup. Member of Parliament for North Dai George Lowe says the president, when on his working visit across the country, receives gifts such as goats, sheep, and smokes, and therefore accepting a car from a contractor is no big deal. According to him, presidents receiving gifts is a normal phenomenon in the Ghanaian body politic. Convention People's Party CPP Youth League has dissociated itself from comments by its flag bearer Ivor Greenstreet, who has said he sees nothing wrong with President Mahama's accepting a gift from a contractor. In a statement signed by John Osei, the league says the president has embarrassed himself and should resign from office. Allegations of conflict of interest and corruption have been hanging around President John Dramani Mahama after an investigation showed that the president in 2012 received a gift from a Burkinabe contractor, Jibril Kenazo. The contractor had been awarded a contract from government. Political science lecturer wants President John Dramani Mahama to demonstrate that he is a human being capable of making a mistake and apologize for accepting a gift from a Burkinabe contractor. Eric Asare Bosman says an apology from the president a few months to the crucial November 7th elections would seem like a bad idea, but it's not. However, the political science lecturer at the University of Ghana thinks an apology should have accompanied a response from the president. He compared the situation to that of South Africa's Jacob Zuma, who was uncovered to have spent huge sums of rand in renovating his private home. Jacob Zuma came out to apologize publicly following the revelations, something he thinks Mr. Mahama should equally do. The Institute of Economic Affairs IEA has said that the withdrawal of the governing National Democratic Congress NDC from the 2016 presidential debate will not reduce the quality and relevance of the event in any way. Following the announcement of the IEA's calendar for 8 presidential debates, the NDC has been a warpath with the think tank, accusing it of disrespecting them. The party's officials have subsequently indicated the party's resolve not to participate in this year's debate. Now, speaking to journalists at the inauguration of the Presidential Debate Committee, however, a senior fellow at the IEA, Professor Achu Ayi, said although the institute would be glad to have the governing party participate in the debates, their absence will not take away the steam from the event. The MP for Nsawema Dwejiri has registered his misgivings about government's delay in implementing the recommendations contained in the report about a quarry explosion at Nsawema in December 2015. Frank Ano Dompre believes the implementation of the report will ensure justice is served to both survivors and family of the deceased. A heavy explosion on the quarry site on December 24, 2015 drove fear and panic into residents of Nsawema. A 38-year-old welder, Ibrahim Mohammed, lost his life when he was caught in one of those explosions. Several others were injured in the process of running to safety. Mr. Kofi Asamoah, General Secretary of the Ghana Trades Union Congress (TUC), has warned the leadership of organized labor to remain alert to prevent political infiltration of the workers front ahead of the general elections. He said the nation inched closer to the polls and the political temperature began to rise, and it was important to resist the temptation to join the fray and dabble in partisan politics, something that could weaken the unity and cohesion of the labor unions. He asks that union leaders at all levels did everything to avoid this and make sure they did not promote the interest of any political party. Special Representative of the UN Secretary General of West Africa and the Sahel, Dr. Mohamed Chambers, has urged political parties to safeguard the stability and unity of the country and should campaign in a peaceful manner. He called on the Electoral Commission, the judicial system, the Election Security Task Force to address any emerging situations in a prompt, professional, and restrained manner.
While I renew the commitment of the United Nations to support Ghana through strengthened and effective partnership for the elections of 2016, I also call on all Ghanaians to commit individually and collectively to working towards credible and peaceful elections. Political parties have a responsibility to safeguard the stability and unity of the country and therefore should campaign in a peaceful manner. I urge all national stakeholders, and especially the political parties and their supporters, to make use of the valuable existing mechanisms for dialogue and dispute resolution to bridge differences and minimize the potential for violence. The ability of the Electoral Commission, the judicial system, the Election Security Task Force, and all the other election stakeholders to address any situations in a prompt, professional, restrained, and dispassionate manner will be a crucial component of the process.
Three regional chairmen of the opposition New Patriotic Party, NPP, have demanded the Electoral Commission EC to release data on the number of people who use the National Health Insurance Scheme cards to register in the electoral roll. The chairmen, who came from the Upper East, Bonga Hafo, and the Ashanti regions, said they need the data to call for the removal of NHIS cadres during the exhibition of the voters register exercise. Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Nana Obiri Boahin, who happens to be the lawyer of the regional chairman, said the demand of his client is within the reach of the EC. The governing National Democratic Congress (NDC) has hinted its 2016 manifesto will focus on the investment in the agriculture sector. According to the party, the investment in the sector is expected to ensure the creation of more jobs in the country from 2017 to 2020. NDC Director of Elections Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo disclosed this to some section of the media in Accra as the nation has barely 6 months to the November polls. The political parties have come under some criticisms for their reluctance to outdoor their manifestos. As the 24th anniversary of the National Democratic Congress was marked, the event attracted top functionaries of the party. Founder of the NDC, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, took part in the celebration and seized the opportunity to address the gathering on the events that led to the formation of the party. He also reminded executives of the party to stick to the core ideals of truth, justice, equality, transparency, and accountability, and not to gravitate from the ideals that necessitated its establishment. Former President Rawlings shamed government appointees who are riding on political authority to push the boundaries of political decencies instead of doing what is right. The chairman of the National Media Commission (NMC), Mr. Kwesi Jan Apenting, has called on professional bodies connected to the conduit of the election in the country to exhibit professionalism in the discharge of their duties to ensure an incident-free election. He said more often than not, people called on the media to live above reproach while they left out other bodies whose work also impacted on the election. According to him, while calling on the media to be circumspect, professionals do not inflame passion, and the same call must be made to other bodies whose actions or inactions could also have adverse effect on the peace being enjoyed by the country. Persons below 18 years of age unemployed, young Ghanaians, will receive 600 Ghana cedis and 1,200 Ghana cedis respectively under a government of Independent People's Party (IPP) every year. This was revealed by the founder and leader of the IPP, Kofi Akpaloo, during the party's manifesto launch last week. Kofi Akpaloo noted that the project will begin in the second quarter of his first year in office when elected in the November polls. Founder of the National Democratic Party (NDP), Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings, has denied suggestions that her party is flirting with the largest opposition New Patriotic Party (NPP). According to her, the NDP has not entered into any such relations with the NPP to oust the ruling National Democratic Congress, of which she was a member of. Barely 2 days to the 2012 election, there was communication mix-up when the NPP flag bearer, Nana Akufo-Addo, told thousands of NPP supporters at the party's final rally in Accra That information picked up by his campaign team indicated that Kunedu Agyeman-Rawlings had endorsed him and had directed all her supporters to vote for the NPP presidential candidate and the NDP parliamentary candidates. However, in a swift response, the office of the ex-First Lady, who was also then the flag bearer of the NDP, denied endorsing Nana Akufo-Addo, but she only asked her followers to make a good assessment of their living standards and evaluate the various policies being trumpeted by the various political parties. National Chairman of the Progressive People's Party (PPP) Ni Alote Brio-Hammond says the party will ensure a just and disciplined society when given the nod to rule this country come November 7th this year. According to him, the attitude of leaders in this country has defied the motto of which our country is hinged on and which is freedom and justice. He noted that the country cannot have the peace if there is no justice. He accordingly challenged Ghanaians to judge the PPP after its 4-year in office, adding that if they do not see any difference in their lives, they should not renew their mandate. The President of India has arrived in the country yesterday for a 2-day state visit expected to consolidate the relations between the two countries. He was met on arrival by a Ghana government delegation led by the Vice President Kwesi Bekoe Arthur on the first leg of his 6-day African tour that will also take him to neighboring Cote d'Ivoire and Namibia. The Air India aircraft carrying the Indian leader touched down at the Kotoka International Airport at exactly 3:45 p.m. amid the colorful display of Ghana's rich traditions by the Ghana Dance Ensemble and cheers from flag-waving students of the Delhi Public School DPS International. In Bta Politics news, a former Central Regional Minister has advised political parties to stay away from antagonism that could result in violence as the country prepares for the November polls. Ama Benyo-Ado, in an exclusive interview with a section of the media in Accra, said political parties should articulate their positions on matters in the strongest way without provocation. The New Patriotic Party (NPP) wants the noise about its decision to delay the release of its manifesto ahead of the crucial November 7th polls to end. The party has urged that the excitement about the unknown contents of its manifesto should instead be focused on more important national issues. Deputy General Secretary of the party, Nana Obiri Boahen, said the defining comments about why the party is silent about details of its campaign messages makes no sense. President John Dramani Mahama is expected to begin his Accounting to the People tour of the Greater Accra region today. He is expected to hand over some buses to a number of educational institutions in Accra today. The tour will also afford the president the opportunity to highlight some of the projects executed by his administration so far. He will later interact with the chiefs and people of the region while commissioning the inspecting projects that have been initiated by his government. This will be the 6th in the series of his regional tours after similar visits to the Central, Eastern, Western, Volta and the Bonga-Hafo regions. The Member of Parliament for the Ayoso West Wagon constituency, Emmanuel Ejakun, says the leaders lack the political will to solve the problem of floods in Accra. According to him, I talk about political will and the desire of those in power to properly prioritize. Between August to December 2012, this country found money internally for the Conti project, yet we go out there and try to borrow $400 million to solve the drainage problems in Accra. He added that the money that were put in wasted developmental projects could have been used to fix the problem of the floods. Politicians have been urged not to approach the forthcoming general elections as a do-or-die affair. Rather, they should appreciate the electoral process as a battle of ideas that get the mandate of the people. A former managing director of the Ghana Airports Company Limited, Dr. Doreen Owusu-Fianko, said this at the launch of a campaign for peaceful elections in Accra last week. The Electoral Commission (EC) of Ghana have served a notice to the directors of its district and regional offices across the country to help locate the code numbers of unspecified registered number of people in the voters register. The EC is finding it very difficult to assign polling stations to the affected electorates to cast their votes. The registered voters who were without code numbers were registered in 2012. In Bta Politics news, President John Dramani Mahama has suspended his Accounting to the People tour of the Greater Accra region following the death of his mother, Bta Nnaba. The president will be flying to Damongo in the northern region for the burial of his mother. Minister of Communications, Dr. Omane Boama, has confirmed Bta Nnaba's demise to a section of the media in Accra. President Mahama on Tuesday commenced his Accounting to the People tour in the Greater Accra after visiting 5 regions. Business mogul and flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party (PPP) has expressed his heartfelt condolences and sympathy to President John Dramani Mahama on the passing of his mother. He was quick to note that mothers are special and therefore it brings great grief to lose them. The astute politician has asked for the Almighty God to console the president and his family while praying for his mother to have eternal rest. The Greater Accra region appears to be the battleground for the 2016 elections in November, as the 2 main political parties have taken the region by storm, campaigning for votes. New Patriotic Party NPP presidential candidate Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was at Choko in the Ablekuma South constituency, while National Democratic Congress NDC's John Dramani Mahama began his tour of the region from Adam. Nana Akufo-Addo promised to address the concerns of the people of Choko when elected president, particularly on the issue of pair trawling, which is undermining their catch. The Supreme Court has dismissed a review motion filed by incumbent NDC Member of Parliament for the Klote-Kole constituency, Niama Ashite. Mr. Ashite, who's challenging the eligibility of the party's parliamentary nominee for the constituency, Zenato Rawlings, filed the application for judicial review of the Supreme Court's ruling stopping the hearing of his case at the High Court. The dismissal of the applicant follows withdrawal of the application by the MP's lawyer, Gary Nimakon, after the Supreme Court punched the holes in the suit. It was interesting and revealing when residents of Komenda and workers of the new sugar factory, angered by false reports about the state of the $35.5 million plant, poured out their frustration. The atmosphere was charged as representatives of the 2 main political parties, the governing NDC and the main opposition party, the NPP, joined management staff of the company in a heated debate. They also revealed that the company is already cultivating a 128-acre plantation, while over 1,080 outgrowers from various parties of the central region have already been registered to receive hybrid seedlings for planting this rainy season. Besides, the sugar factory is generating its own electricity, about 3 megawatts, following the unreliability of power from the Electricity Company of Ghana. Ghana should consider setting a minimum educational qualification for parliamentarians if it intends to, in the long term, improve the quality of deliberations in the House of the General Work of Parliament, suggesting Dr. Eric Odro Osai, Dean of Graduate Studies at the Institute of Local Government. He said the legislator needed to be on top of issues before getting up to talk, and against the backdrop that the use of the English language as the official medium of discussion in the House is not a native tongue, those with a limited ability to express themselves in the language or with low educational status are hampered in making contributions on the floor of the House, lowering the standard of discussion. The Electoral Commission (EC) of Ghana has been urged to raise the bar in the events that the state is going to fund activities of political parties. A political scientist, Dr. Richard Amwakuba, who made the suggestion, has noted that when standards are high, it will serve as disincentive for charlatans who want to take undue advantage of the system to advance their parochial interests. The status of the opposition New Patriotic Party NPP parliamentary nominee for the Kranchi West constituency in the Volta region, Kenneth Jema, is being disputed following reports that he has been relieved of his nominee status. Mr. Jema was informed via a supposed letter from the NPP regional executives that he had been relieved of his position because he allegedly abandoned his duties in the constituency since the party's primary in 2014. He was reported to have visited the constituency twice in that period. The Ghana Broadcasting Corporation GBC is set to organize presidential debates for all political parties ahead of this year's election. That will, however, be done after the EC has certified such individuals as presidential candidates. The state-owned entity has also hinted that it will give equal airtime and space for political parties nationwide to outline their policies to the electorate. This will be done in line with the corporation's editorial policies, and the GBC has therefore challenged the public to market words against what it intends doing. In Bta Politics news, the founder and leader of the Progressive People's Party (PPP), Dr. Papakwesi Indum, has lauded the flag bearer of the opposition New Patriotic Party (NPP), Nana Addo Dankwa-Akufo-Addo, for supposedly backing calls for the election of Metropolitan Municipal District Chief Executives (MMDCs) to make them more accountable. Dr. Indum, who has been at the forefront of his advocacy, in a statement on Wednesday said the PPP welcomes Nana Addo's late jump into the bandwagon. The PPP has been at the forefront of this national crusade to amend the 1992 Constitution to make it possible for all MMDCEs to be elected by universal adult suffrage to bring accountability and development to the local level. The PPP has, together with other stakeholders, made representations on this matter to the Constitutional Review Implementation Committee, the Council of State, the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, and to the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. As it is the case in all matters, the decision by Nana Addo is better late than never. The party thanked Nana Addo for supporting the campaign and urged him to continue to support the PPP to bring this change to the people of Ghana when the party is given the mandate from January 2017. The Burkinabe contractor, who has confessed to sending a gift to President John Dramani Mahama, has pulled out of a 82 million Ghana cedis bid to construct a 28-kilometer road. Roads and Highways Minister Alhaji Nusa Fusaini said Jibril Kanazo had expressed disinterest in the contract some weeks ago. An investigation has revealed, however, that Jibril Kanazo, who is President and Director General of Group Kanazo, gave a Ford expedition to President Mahama in 2012 after he had won 2 construction contracts. One was to build a wall around a piece of land for Ghana Embassy in Burkina Faso at a cost of $650,000. Another was Dodo Pepeso Nkwanta Road, worth 25.9 million euros. The investigation further showed that the contractor was being considered another contract to construct the Wa Hamile Road on sole sourcing basis. Lawyer and criminologist Professor Kenneth Atefua says the president cannot extricate from a scandal in which he has been accused of receiving a Ford expedition from a private contractor. He said the president's conduct was a palpable violation of the Code of Conduct governing public officers. A Burkinabe contractor, Mr. Jibril Kanazo, who has won 3 contracts awarded by Ghana government, confessed to giving president a Ford expedition vehicle valued at $100,000. Some supporters of the governing National Democratic Congress (NDC) in the Chiana-Paga constituency in the Upper East region have issued an ultimatum to the National Executive Committee (NEC) to organize a parliamentary primary. The group concerned Chiana-Paga NDC supporters argued the delay in the primary has brought a lot of challenges to the party in the constituency. At a news conference held in Kumasi, the group accused some national executives of the party of being behind scenes to impose a candidate on them. Touching on some of the challenges the party is facing, spokesperson of the group, Kweku Akeche, said the situation has created an opportunity for the New Patriotic Party candidate to have an unfair advantage. The flag bearer of the National Democratic Party, NDP, Nana Konadu-Agyeman-Rawlings, has descended heavily on President Mahama, saying his administration has woefully failed to address pressing challenges facing Ghanaians. The former First Lady cited electricity billing challenges, high taxes on businesses and harsh economic conditions as instances that her view attest to the president's lack of critical leadership skills, lamenting on a wide array of issues affecting the country in a video posted on a Facebook page. Nana Konadu urged Ghanaians to vote President Mahama and the governing National Democratic Congress out of power in November. NPP Communications Director Nana Komia says President John Mahama disappointed Ghanaians by accepting a gift from a contractor. He has said the president has put himself in an indefensible position when he accepted a Ford Expedition gift from Burkinabe contractor Jibril Kanazo. Government has explained that the vehicle is not being used personally by the president, but Nana Akomia argued the explanation is untenable. The Nadoli Kaleo constituency of the New Patriotic Party NPP will hold primaries to elect a parliamentary candidate for the November 2016 polls. This follows the decision by the party's parliamentary candidate for the constituency, Dr. Robinson Boy Bandi, to step down. Dr. Boy Bandi wrote to the regional executives of his intention to step down from contesting the election. It is, however, not clear as to what reasons might have forced the 55-year-old planning consultant to step down with barely 5 months to the election. It is believed by many that his decision may be due to ill health. The Christian Council of Ghana and the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council have asked the Electoral Commission (EC) to implement the Supreme Court's ruling on the voters' register. The two bodies argued, considering the limited months the nation has to the November polls, the EC has to expedite action to ensure the electoral register is cleaned as directed by the Apex Court. A joint communique issued after a meeting in Accra said the EC must get rid of the register of persons who registered with the National Health Insurance cards. And what has largely been considered a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court on May 5, 2016 ordered the Electoral Commission to take immediate steps to delete names of unqualified persons from the register and give them another opportunity to register using lawful means. The Electoral Commission of Ghana has appointed Eric Kofi Jakbasu as its head of communications. This was contained in a statement signed by the Deputy Chair of the Commission, Georgina Opoku-Amankwa, on Wednesday. According to the Commission, Mr. Jakbasu emerged as a top candidate for the role after a highly competitive and thorough internal recruitment process. And that's it for BTA Politics News.